All right, we're back with part two, December 27th, 2023, with Mom. And Mom, I don't think I've had you do this on any of your other videos. Tell me your full name and your date of birth and where you were born. I mean, I know that personally, but for
Yeah,
everybody else.
it's Karin Maria Slaughter, geborene Villa in Deutschhof in Deutschland.
And what was your date of birth?
Oh, 7. Juni 1943.
June 7, 1943. Okay. All right, so I found out stories later on that you told me about, so I don't know if I know everything. But whether it's now or when you were younger, was there anything crazy? Let's put it this way: what was the craziest thing you ever did?
Did I tell you the one when I met Dad in Bangkok and he locked himself in a bathroom?
That sounds familiar, but tell the story for everybody that doesn't know it.
Okay, he was in Vietnam and we met in Bangkok for his R&R over Christmas. And the day he came, after all the greetings and whatever, he went to the bathroom, which was in our room, of course, and he locked the door, which I didn't realize. So when he was trying to come out, he couldn't open the door. The lock was jammed, whatever. So first I shoved him some cigarettes under the door, and we did from both sides. So I finally had to call maintenance. So they came. And so I tried to explain what's going on, and they were just standing there laughing their heads off. They thought it was funny. So they finally came with their tools and took the whole door apart. So he must have spent there probably an hour, I would say, before they could get the door open or the lock. And then every time when he ran, not only the maintenance men, they must have told everybody when they saw him coming. They all thought it
Oh
was
my
the
God.
funniest thing.
Silly American locking himself in the bathroom.
Yeah, coming from Vietnam, afraid his wife might come in there.
Well, you know,
It was that, all right.
had to make sure that you weren't VC. You're gonna slip a grenade under the toilet.
Yeah. Oh, there was another one. I know. Um, was at night, and we were sleeping, and the phone rang, and we didn't answer it. Yeah, we just came from vacation. That's right. And at that time, we told the police we were out of town, but we came back a day earlier, and the windows was open, so I didn't. Oh, and then the doorbell rang. And a big knock, knock, knock. Like, what the hell? So, of course, Dad woke up then too, and I went outside and I saw, and then again, open up, it's the police. So Dad told me, go open them, it's the police. He never got up.
And this is,
And they wanted, because they thought we come back a day later, they said they were intruders and the window was opened.
and
So,
where was this at?
here in Hope Mills, our Hope Mills
In Home
police.
Mills. Oh my God.
Mm, yeah, they were on the ball.
Well, jeez. So I mean, but you per se, what did you do that was crazy? I mean, I know you didn't you zip line one time on
Oh,
when
with
in Costa
Dad, yeah,
Rica.
Costa
So
Rica.
anything
As
else?
far as
Adventures
crazy,
like that?
maybe dangerous at that time, but when we were young, like teenagers, and I went on vacation with my girlfriend, we hitchhiked, which I wouldn't recommend to anybody nowadays anymore.
That's a little bit different.
So sometimes, I mean, I'm glad that I'm still alive because of the just stupid things, you know.
Yeah, but we all do that when we're
Yeah,
younger.
but I mean, they would just to be too dangerous
Yeah.
nowadays.
Um, did anybody have a big influence on your life growing up? Oma, Tante Edith, friends, family.
Uh, well, Tante Edith for sure. And yeah, my friend Giddy, that was like from school, Giddy. Yeah, we did everything together as teenagers.
Yeah.
And she was the cool one. I was more the shy one, and I just, the way she dressed, most of the time I couldn't do it because of my mother. My mother was more conservative. Her parents didn't care or, didn't mind. And we had the first cigarette together. We kept on smoking, and my mother never knew about it. But
And
I heard
how old
it
were you
because,
then? How old were you?
16.
Eh,
It wasn't that early.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
I was doing it at 12, 13.
but not like just one time for a try, or you
Yeah,
really started from
in Berlin.
Well,
You
I
know,
know you did, but I was wondering.
it wasn't regular, but it was
Mhm.
more often than not.
Inhaling in the whole 9 yards?
Just to look cool.
And exactly. And I didn't even like it at first. But yep. And then, of course, it worked. Then we did too. The girls all smoked. We went to the bathroom. And at that time, you still could smoke all over.
Well, we could still
Well,
smoke
then
in high
did we
school too.
smoke in the office? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yep.
up until the last 20 years, you could just smoke just about anywhere.
Yeah.
So that kind of goes into what kind of kid were you?
Shy, very polite. And when I saw a person 10 times a day, I said 10 times, Guten Tag, Guten Tag. But when I was outside and walking, and I saw a person I knew, just to avoid it, I went over on the other side of the street because it was just it.
I
Oh,
mean,
and everybody in the house said that I'm eingebildet, like
stuck
my
up,
nose up. Yeah, yeah.
snobby.
But I was just shy.
Is that because of any reason that you can remember? Because of something Oma had told you, or just naturally that way?
No, I was not traumatized about anything. That was just me.
All right. So, what was life like growing up in Berlin? You were born in 1943. So, did you spend
Okay, but I
those
spent
time? How much
no
time did you spend in Deutschhof versus Berlin?
from the time I was born till I started school, pretty much. I don't know exactly, but I know at least for a few years after the war, because it was in the country that the
And
farmers had stuff there.
you're
It
talking
was
about
good to eat
you
and
were
all
in
that.
Deutschhof
Yeah,
as opposed to being in Berlin.
yeah. So, and then as a kid, when I came back to Berlin, like I said, I don't know when the transition was, but
Do you think it was still in the late 40s or was it in the early 50s?
no, I started school in '49.
Okay.
So yeah, and I was before. Well, by that time, I know already my first girlfriend, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
I knew her from church, but she lived right around the corner. So that time we did everything together. And well, my mother was still working. I was what they call a Schlüsselkind, a key,
yeah.
But it doesn't bother me. And all the ruins what were still there. I mean, we played in there. I didn't know really at that time what it was all about, the war. We thought we made our own little houses there. So we enjoyed it. I mean, we were at that time, it was fun to play in there.
So you weren't traumatized by
No, not at
Berlin
all.
being
No, I didn't know what was going on.
rubble
No,
and
totally.
all that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you remember anything about Olpo when he was alive or him dying?
I don't know if I remembered. I think some of the things, or if it's more from telling, but I do remember he had one finger. There was no fingernail on there. And I pretended I was cutting his nails. And the one without the nail, or maybe even half a finger, I don't know that. And then I remember when he was in a hospital. So he died in 46.
46, yeah.
Yeah. So that was when he in a hospital before he died. And that one visit, yes, I think I do remember it. So I see that bed there. He was laying in the bed, and there were two beds in that room. And another guy was laying in the other bed. And Tante Edith, she always went to the other guy. I think she kind of was a young guy. I think she had a crush on him. But And whatever my mother brought, I know he had always chocolate in his nightstand there.
Who, Opa?
So Opa, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I looked in first too. But as far as emotional, I never really missed him because I didn't spend that much time with him because first being in Deutschland
Mm-hmm.
and yeah.
So when you, who was in Deutschhof with you? Was Tante Edith and Oma?
No, just Oma. Also my Oma and Tante Annie.
Okay, and then Tante Edith and Oma and Opa were in Berlin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Oma was working?
Yeah.
And
At
what?
first, even before I was born and then while I was born, she was carrying newspaper out like first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And then later she was cleaning houses for people. I mean, she never was educated or taught in any kind of professional thing, you know. So that was after my dad died. So she went, had different people where she went clean houses.
So what did Tante Edith do during that time? Do you know?
Tante Edith, I don't even know. They don't even have that anymore. She did repair nylon stockings. There were actually stores at that time, and you could do it. And then she did it at home and later in the store. And she was sitting in the window, and you could watch her. It's like it's almost like crocheting. You put that nylon stocking on that thingy there, and then you went like that because people couldn't afford to buy new stockings or nylons, you know, all the time. Nobody had money.
Yeah.
So that was the cheapest way to repair. So yeah, she did that. And when my dad was still alive, it was after the war, yeah. So when the Americans occupied our side of the, Berlin, my dad started working there in the snack bar. And then he got Tante Edith a job there in the snack bar. So they were both working there. And then he brought home, then sometimes he brought, that I just know from Tante Edith and my mother. So people gave him, he brought home food then sometimes from the snack bar there too. And one time he came and had like wieners, like hot dogs, around he was hiding but under his pants.
Yeah.
And so when he came home, he dropped his pants and there were all the hot dogs and everybody was elated about that. But that's not the funny thing. So we went to the market that one day with Oma, and there was a hot dog stand. And I said to my mother, "Oh, look, Mutti, da sind dieselben Würstchen, die Papa in der Hose hat." Yeah, I did kind of embarrass her sometimes.
That's pretty good though. That's a good one. How many people must have turned around when you said that? That's funny. Oh, that's funny. I don't know if I asked you this. I think it's similar to what we talked about. Throughout your life, is there any one thing that you're most proud of? An accomplishment, family, your kids, grandkids, just having been a good person? What do you think?
No, I wouldn't know. I couldn't pick one out. No.
So, who was your best friend, or who were your best friends growing up? I mean, you already said Gitti.
Elisabeth and then Gitti.
Yeah. And Elisabeth, so you're still in touch with her.
I'm still in touch with her, yes.
And is Gitti still alive or no?
I don't know, because she got married again. I saw her the last time when we were in Berlin. What was it?
84?
No. I didn't even see her then. After Sandy was born 73, so 74. So, no, at that trip there.
Oh, wow.
So when we, because I remember she said how cute my kids are. That's the only reason why I remember that. So that was, like maybe 74, 75. And so I tried to look her up, and I couldn't find her. I know her parents are dead, because my mom told me, Oma told me about it. But, because they lived right around the corner. Yeah, I never found them. Found her now.
Hmm.
And at that time, I looked in telephone books there, what they still had. So, look.
Did you have any dreams or aspirations of what you wanted to be or what you wanted to do growing up?
At one time, first I wanted to be a school teacher, and then later a flight attendant.
Ooh.
And when I was older, I wanted to be, I have to say this in Deutsch, Auslandskorrespondentin.
Foreign correspondent?
Yeah, because, I had that English, I had French in school, which I was good in school with languages and all that. But then that would have been, would have cost money, for that too, and my mom couldn't afford it.
So you just hooked up with the first GI?
No.
I'm sorry. There was the Turk, and there was the Greek guy, and then there was the GI.
The first one was a Turk.
Oh, okay.
But no, I had quite a few. Oh, not really. Yeah, boyfriends. But like I told you, at my time, you didn't sleep with everybody. So no. So I was still kind of innocent. Because my mother told me, if I ever come home pregnant, she's going to take her life. No, first she said she is going to disown me, which she didn't have much. And then later she said she's going to go in the water. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is something what traumatized me.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine her saying that too.
Yeah.
All right, so since we're just getting over Christmas and you were here Christmas with our family, and I know me growing up, but before then, when it was just you and Dad Edith and Oma, or just as a child, were there any Christmas traditions or holiday traditions that you remember that we don't do anymore, or that you really enjoyed?
Well, definitely Christmas. I remember real little when I was in Deutschhof with the snow. But then later, when it was just Oma and I, it was Christmas Eve. We did the Christmas tree just the day before. It was always just a small one with real candles. And so I got mostly books because I always like to read, and maybe it's sometimes when I was smaller, new clothes for my doll. I got some dolls too. And then on the Christmas Eve dinner or Abendbrot, whatever, was always a traditional Wiener Würstchen und Kartoffelsalat. That was just a must. And then we always went to church at midnight. And that's when I saw all the other friends there, Elisabeth for one, and then the church friends there. And what did you get? And what I got. I mean, that was our tradition. And then when I was a little bit older, my mother insisted that I learn to play the accordion because some friend of hers, her granddaughter did. So I did. I didn't like it, but every Christmas then I had to play the accordion and sing the Christmas songs. So they did the singing.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah.
30, 40 years ago when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All right, so accordion it is for you for next Christmas. Yeah. Think you remember how to play?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. Kind of long here, but when it comes to Oma how and Oma Tante Ani und Oma, how close were you with them? Were they
Very
affectionate?
close. When I was real little, I was a total Oma kid. Whenever something was wrong, that's what they told me, you know. And I was crying, Oma. I always went to Oma.
Now, your Oma or my Oma?
My Oma.
Yeah, so my Oma.
Yeah, your Oma. And I remember sitting on her lap, and then sometimes she was singing me songs, and I wish I could remember that song, and Ani still did. And then later, I mean, I always loved Tandani too. So she was just a quiet one. Of course, my mother was a little bit harsh, I want to say,
Yeah.
or streng, tried to do the right thing, you know, as a widow then, and raising two girls, what she told me. But Tante Annie was always very lovable, which of course my mother was too, but in a different way. She was one who had to, she was a Erzieher, you know. Gosh, I remember one time when she busted my butt. That was, oh yeah, across in the other building, I had another friend, she lived there. You know, there were two buildings what Oma had.
Yeah.
So we still lived in the back one, and she lived in the front one. And how old was I? Maybe 5 or 6, and she had 2 brothers. So I went over there for some. Yeah, it was about Christmas time. It was winter, so I went over there to play. And then the one brother, they were a little bit older, and he said, "Let's go to the Stadtpark." For something, I don't know why. So anyways,
So you're talking about like the Steglitzer Stadtpark?
No. There, you know where Waldrot lived? Remember that
Yeah.
Stadtpark? Yeah. And it must have been. So anyways, those rhododendron, or those forsythia, these yellow flowers was already blooming, but it was cold. So I picked some flowers. We picked the. So then was time for coffee, and my mother came to get me. And Frau Schulz said, "Oh, they're out there with Dieter and Dagmar." "Well, where?" And she knew to come home, blah, blah, blah. And then when I finally came home, it was dark already. Everybody was about, Tante Edith, my mother, the whole neighborhood looking for us. And I finally came home. We came home, me with my flowers there. These were these long ones, you know. And there was my mother waiting. Ja, und Tante Edith was there. So I said, "Guck mal, was ich dir mitgebracht habe." And she ripped those out of my hand, and then the house flew there. And she busted my butt with those things until Tante Edith just tore, you know,
Yeah.
stopped that. Yeah, that was kind of traumatizing, because I didn't know what I did wrong.
How old were you?
Maybe 4 or 5, something like that.
Oh, 4 or 5, running in the streets.
Yeah.
But you could do that back then.
Yeah.
All right. Any? So we'll wrap it up. Any other stories or thoughts that you want to share right now?
No.
Anything come to mind?
I can think of it
Okay. Well, we'll do it again real soon.
now. Okay.
All right. Bye.